Okay, a few things I want to get out of the way before I start getting into the nitty-gritty of this episode. First and foremost is something I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I want to get out of the way now, which is that I am literally recording this right after this episode ends. So if a lot of my thoughts and my speech patterns and whatnot is a little bit scattered, if I just go, oh wait, that thing from 10 minutes ago, I'll bring that up now. If I do that, it's literally just because I'm trying to remember everything at once, which is probably the worst way of doing this. I should probably wait until the next day, but then I wouldn't remember anything, with my memory anyway. So, just so you know, if it comes off as a little bit scatterbrained, that's why. Second of all, Vastra, Jenny, and Strax need their own show. They need it now. And I'll get into why when I start getting into the episode. Ahem. Third of all, speaking of spin-offs, it was maybe not announced this week, maybe not thought of this week, but yeah, River Song and Captain Jack might have their own spin-off in the works. This needs to happen, with especially with the fate of Torchwood kind of out of balance and kind of not, no one really knows what's going to happen with it. Yeah, Russell T Davies, Mark Gatiss, Stephen Moffat, whoever wants to make it, please do. And if it's not one of them, somebody else, because that needs to happen. Same with the Vostra, but I'm getting ahead of myself again. Anyway, after the longest tangent I've ever had of about 2 minutes now, ahem. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Immortal Cave and saying we trust.blogspot.ca, as you can tell by the name of my account now, since I've changed from Victory of the Daleks to the Immortal K. Ahem. And welcome to first reaction for Doctor Who The Crimson Horror, which is the actual name of the damn episode. I've been calling it Crimson Threat for about a month now. Sorry about that. I don't know, I just could not remember the name of the damn episode. But anyway. Yeah, Crimson Horror is the name of the episode. Ahem. As usual, there will be spoilers past this point. Yeah, anybody who's seen one of these before knows what they're getting into. But yeah, massive spoilers. And at 3 minutes, I'm finally getting into things. This was a good episode. There was really, I would consider a few problems with it. More so than have been in the last few episodes, but where do I start? Okay. I'll go through it with the plot. We start off with Vostra, Jenny, and Strax. And what happens is, we're going through it as with them, seeing these reports of these murders from this one reporter who faints multiple times during the episode, and it's a running joke, and it's actually kind of funny. Well, kind of. Well, okay, got a chuckle out of me once or twice. Anyway, with Vostra, Jenny, and Strax going through this and seeing these deaths. And my first problem comes in very quickly, in fact, before the title screen, I believe, which is that the dead are all glow, like have this red, like their skin turns red, and it looks kind of silly. There's a moment where it is kind of scary. I will give them credit, but just on the corpses, yeah, it looks a little silly. It actually looks really silly. Whenever the first time you see one of them, it's a corpse in the screaming animation, and the only thing I had in my mind was that scene from the Simpsons Halloween special of where they were they were parodying Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was Martin who got killed in class, and he just had that frozen, that screaming position, and it's almost the exact same thing. The only difference is it basically looks like he just fell into a vat of paint and died, and like kind of died in this kind of hilarious position. it's meant to be scary, but it really didn't work. Like, maybe some people might have found it creepy, but that's the only thought that went through my head I just had that scene going through my head of Martin getting pushed into the kindergarten class. Anyway, this isn't about The Simpsons, but that was a problem I had. And there's my other problem, actually, is the first third of this episode. I'm almost tempted to say the first half, actually, of this episode is the Vastra show. Is Vastra, Jenny, and Strax. Because the Doctor doesn't really come into this. In fact, you don't actually see him until literally about 20 minutes in, where we find out he has the red skin thing going on. That was the creepy moment, actually, I have to admit, is we don't see him. We see him only from the back. Jenny comes in. We don't even know what it is. She points to him, says, "Doctor," and he dashes at the screen, at Jenny. And he can't move very well, he can't talk, he can just kind of moan. And it was pretty jarring, I have to admit. It was actually pretty creepy. In fact, that's actually one thing I want to say right now is, between that and this one scene of these knocked out, I'm assuming unconscious, maybe dead, people in like these long johns getting dunked into this stuff. And I have to admit, it's actually really creepy. Like, it's really unsettling. And that's what I really like, is just how unnatural and how eerie the episode is. I actually say it right now, it, to an extent, was actually a bit creepier than Hyde, which is odd, you know? But back to what I was getting at. Like I said, the problems with this episode is, like I said, I already mentioned that the silly looking paint, though that might be that's a nitpick, I would say. Maybe it isn't, but I don't know. That took me out of it for a little bit. But anyway, is the fact that the first 20 minutes, the first half hour, is basically the Vastra show, the Vastra, Jenny, and Strax show, and then they rescue the Doctor. Like I said, Jenny finds him, and then reconstitutes him, or just makes him normal again. And basically, what happens from that point on is the Doctor just takes the show, just goes, "I'm gonna take that back," and then it's the Doctor show from that point on. And some people might say that, if the Doctor did nothing in an episode, that's not an episode of Doctor Who. I know a lot of people said they had that complaint about Love and Monsters, I think. But to these people, I have a bit of a counter-argument. That counter-argument is Blink. Because the Doctor does just about nothing in that episode. Well, okay, to be fair, he does give the warning, the tape warning, to Miss Nightingale. I cannot remember her first name right now. Sally Sparrow, that's her name. It's kind of silly, but I had the song by Chameleon Circuit going through my head. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again. And where was I? Yes, that's my counter argument to anybody who says Doctor Who episodes with very little Doctor in them can't work. Is that episode right there? Is Blink. And I think this episode would have been a bit stronger if Vastra had the last laugh, or if it was a little bit more about the Doctor perhaps taking care of Clara, still throwing out some good lines and throwing out and doing stuff. But I think the more of a main focus on Vastra, Jenny, and Strax would have worked a bit better. I think. Maybe that's just me, but I think that would have worked a bit better. Because just having the first half be Vastra and them, and the second half be the Doctor, it was a little bit inconsistent and just didn't quite jive with me. Though that being said, those are my main two problems with it, was that silly makeup job in the first part, though again it did work in that one incident, and the inconsistency, the just odd pacing involving the main focus in terms of the antagonist. And actually, now that I think about it, there's one other nitpick I want to get to. And this is a nitpick, I know it is. Excuse me. And this happened again. This happened before. Most notably in the episode The Girl Who Waited from Series 6. Which is the theme, I Am the Doctor, would start playing. Now, it's an awesome theme. It's a really good, epic, good guy theme. One of the best I've heard. You know, all credit to that song. I love it. But it's a nitpick. I know it is. I can't take anything away from the episode because of it, and I won't, obviously. But mentally, every time I hear that theme pop up, and it's not the Doctor doing something epic, my brain just goes, "Why are you playing the Doctor's theme?" Like it was the two Amy's in The Girl Who Waited, or it was in this one it was Jenny, who just fought off like a bunch of well-armed like guys with clubs, and what did the Doctor call them? The Supermodel Squad or something like that. I can't remember, but it was pretty funny. But fought them off, and that's a nitpick, I realize, but just there's just something about whenever they play that theme and it's not the Doctor that just bugs me. But anyway, getting to the good points, the comedic writing in this episode was excellent. Now I was expecting that because Foster, Jenny, and Strax are in this, and Strax pretty much stole the Christmas special. Strax didn't have as much in this episode, though he did have a few good lines. Quite a few good lines. But the Doctor just ran with it. When he gets whatevered, he comes out, "Did you miss me?" And he's swinging around the screwdriver. That was the worst Doctor impression I've ever done, by the way. And he's spinning around. Kiss Jenny. I thought that was kind of random. Gets slapped, and then he just turns around. You have no idea how good that feels. Turns back around, and he's just full of energy. And I love that. That got a good chuckle out of me. But where was I? Yes, the comedic writing. There's a few really good one-liners and just a lot of good reactions and stuff. And I think it was one of the stronger points of this episode. That and the horror. It's odd that went together so well. Is that eerie tone in the first part, and the unsettling tone and the creepy tone, with the comedy that was in the second half. And it actually kind of worked. And that's very odd that went so well. It's kind of odd that did work so well. Usually that would kind of cause some kind of a mood whiplash, but I don't find it did. Where was I? Like I said, I think the two moods actually worked really well together, kind of because of it always worked well because it was Vostra with the eerie sense, and then the Doctor with the more humorous tone. Maybe that's just me. It was still really creepy though. In the second half, it just was a bit lighter. Where else do I go with this? The main villain, Mrs. I can't remember her name. Gilly something. It's just one of those generic old English names. Gilly Boot or something like that. But Merryweather. I don't remember. But and yeah, it was just on like 15 minutes ago, and I can't remember. I'm terrible. Sorry. But yeah, she was really good. In fact, there's something I want to bring up right now, which is something from last week's episode, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. When I brought up that one character, one of the three junk dealers, who was a complete asshole through the whole episode and got no retribution because of it, and he was considered I would consider him a good guy the way they played him, but he was still a jerk, really big jerk. And he didn't really show any redemption signs that one line at the end. This Mrs. Gillyweather, or whatever the hell her name is, she's the way to do that right. Is make a villain a really unlikable prick and have someone lash out at them and have them get their comeuppance. I don't find that... Okay, maybe saying that was the right way to do it isn't quite the best way of wording that. I just find that making a character a jerk and making them a good guy, just so they can learn a lesson, doesn't jive with me. I'm not saying it's a bad way of doing things, it's just I don't like it. I just don't like how that works. I think that Mrs. Bootweather, or Mary Boot, or... I'm looking up her name, I swear to God. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna put up a little thing for it. Because, to be honest with you, I've had a very long week at work this week, and anyway, this is not the time for me to be complaining about that. Ahem. And I'm far too lazy. Anyway, with her, having a really unlikable character be a jerk to somebody and have them get their comeuppance is that I love seeing that. And have them being the main villain. Have them being somebody who makes sense for them to be a jerk. Just having some random good guy be a jerk so they can learn their lesson, that doesn't work with me. Having a main villain be a jerk is awesome because I think that works. I think that works a lot better for the character. Because it makes sense for the villain to be the jerk. Villains are jerks! And, having them get their comeuppance is enjoyable because they're the villain. They're going to get their comeuppance. Having what would be considered a good guy, be a jerk. And change, I just did air quotes, because you couldn't see it. Despite the fact that that was really not a change, I'm ranting now, it just didn't work as much with me. I love the villain of this one, though. And seeing Ada, I think that was her name, the main villain's daughter, who was blinded by these experiments and whatnot. Seeing that was satisfying. Seeing a main character, a good guy, who's a jerk, say something nice at the end, doesn't work for me. That's the last I'm going to say about that. But anyway, yeah, the comedy was excellent. The villain was excellent. The tone was bizarrely excellent. Again, I want to see more Strax, more Vastra, more Jenny. I want to see, and I know that they're in the finale in 2 weeks, which I'm looking forward to, by the way. But I know they need their spin-off. So does Jack and River. Those two, get on that. Somebody get on that. Russell T. Davies, if you're listening to this, and I know you're not, in the off chance though, grab that. Do that. If Torchwood's not coming back, do that. That'd be awesome. Either Vastra or River. Either one. Groovy. Anyway. What else is there? I think this is like when I was watching through it, I was thinking that the villain was going to be really weak because it was just going to be some random alien creature. Just some random that random slug. But in the end, because of Mrs. Merryweather, or whatever the hell her name is, I think it worked. I think it worked very well. Just trying to think now. All in all, I think this was a very good episode. Like I said, it had a bit more problems than Journey to the Center of the TARDIS or Hyde or whatever. Some of which were nitpicks, I'll admit. But really, I think the biggest problem with this one was just the fact that I think it should have been more about Vastra in the end. Maybe that's just me, though. Anyway, this would be the part where I talk about what's coming up next week. And how god bloody damned excited I am for it. This is the episode that before Season 7 Part 2 even started that I was excited for, which is Nightmare in Silver. This Return of the Cybermen. That trailer only got me even more excited the next time on. That only got me more excited because now... Oh... I'm very, very excited for this. I'm admittedly, the only thing that has me a little bit concerned is the fact that Clara's, the 2 kids she's looking after, are going to be involved in this as well. I'm a little worried about that because, like, for better or for worse, you know, I love, and I'm not well, actually I am comparing characters like Mickey, or like that one kid from Season 1 who got a window to his brain. I don't know. Or little things like that. Little characters like that. Didn't mean to call Mickey and that kid things. Sorry. But just those little characters like that. They can either really work, or they can really backfire. I've got this bad feeling that they're going to backfire. But the Cybermen, I'm still really excited for that. And obviously the week after that is going to be the finale, The Name of the Doctor, in which we find out who Clara is and the name of the Doctor. I've said it 3 weeks now. Don't fuck this up. The Doctor's name is Greg. I'm going to be pissed. Just saying. Anyway, I've gone on for way too long. Ahem. Crimson Horror, excellent episode. Has a tonal, has an issue about halfway through, but again, it works. And in the end, I think it was a really good episode. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, I shall see you next week for Nightmare in Silver. Have a good night. Be safe. And I cannot think of anything else to say, so bye.